BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. Today, we will be reviewing Tressay. Now, the premise of our show is that each week we will binge watch a television series. And then we come right here to the BingeWorthy podcast to provide you with an in-depth, informative, and always entertaining analysis of that program. And then at the end of the BingeWorthy podcast, we rate the show based on our unique BingeWorthy scale. Hello, everybody. My name is Johnny Randolph, but you guys can call me Randy, and I have three extraordinary co-hosts. My first co-host is the chicest geek, this part of the Milky Way. He's Mr. Jet Setter Fresh himself, one half owner of the Geekish Network, and I call him the Sultan of Floss. Say hello to the people, Chuck.
What's up, everyone? I need that introduction all the time. Can I have that when I walk into a room? Let me record that. Oh, we got to record it. I'm going to just put that on before I walk in the room. I'm going to walk right back out, hit play, and let it go. Then I walk back in again. That sounds amazing. Man, whatever makes you feel good, fam. Whatever makes you feel good. And this guy, he is internationally respected, globally known. I call him the game spitter because every single day on Geek Beast, right here too on the BingeWorthy podcast, he is spitting that fire. Say hello to the people, Centel.
Yo, what's good? I feel like I left my collars at home because I need to be popping them after that introduction, baby. Let's go. Yes, that's man. What we
do, man. So, as I said a little earlier, this week we are evaluating Tressay because here at the Geekish Network, this is Tressay week. Chuck, why don't you tell the people what is Tressay week?
Well, Tressay week is the week we're dedicating to the Filipino American anime that came out based on a Filipino comic book. It is the first time that we've seen a Filipino animation actually grace our screens in a streaming service, and Netflix brought it to life. So we're celebrating that. You know, we have Rodney, who is actually one half of the Geekish Network founders, and he's Filipino, and we want to celebrate this. This is the first time where they have a full Filipino cast, full Filipino writers, and they came and brought their culture to us. And I'm pretty sure that most of us probably learned something as we did this. So that's what Tressay week is.
Absolutely, man. And like I said a little earlier, man, it's really cool to see, you know, people of color telling their own stories, controlling their own narrative, bringing that to the world. All right, man. You all may have noticed, though, when I first introduced everybody, that one of our other co-hosts, Miss Courtney Scott, right? She's not here today, but we want to wish her the best of luck. She's out there enjoying her hot girl summer. But today, we have a special guest. Chuck, okay. Do you want to bring in our guest?
Yeah, I'll bring in our guest. Is joining now.
Drum roll.
All right. I see him flashing. Hey, Karl.
Hey there.
Hey, hi.
Welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, sir.
Glad to be here.
Cool. Well, just a little background on Karl. Karl is a writer and independent researcher who focuses on Philippine folklore and mythology. Having graduated with a linguistics degree from the University of the Philippines, he has since been using what he learned by conducting independent research into myths, legends, and folk stories about the Philippines, focusing on mythological creatures. Suffice it to say, Karl has mad geek cred.
Hello, Karl. How you doing?
I'm good. Good,
man.
You're in the Philippines, right?
Yep. Born and raised.
What time is it there?
It's 11 a.m.
Okay. Karl's like, I'm about to go to lunch after this.
Not too bad. So, Karl, You're an expert in mythology, from creatures from the Philippines. Where did you
Yep.
develop this love for creatures and mythology?
Well, it started when I was an undergraduate in linguistics. We were supposed to do this paper on the numeral systems of one of the languages in the country. And I was interviewing this guy about it. And in between the interview, he'd tell me about this mythical creature from his province called the Minamidtalon.
Nice.
It's like this dog thing with feet pointing backwards. Anyway, that's what me. I dropped the original topic of my paper, focused it more on mythical creatures. And from there, I spearheaded it into my thesis, which was about the myths of the Philippines as well.
Nice. Nice. Love it. Centel, man, do you got anything you want to ask Karl?
Yeah, when it comes to mythological creatures, I know a lot of cultures share some of the traits and characteristics of other mythological creatures as well. Like, for instance, there's dragons in Japan, there's dragons in Western Europe, there's dragons all over the place. That's a mythical creature that's kind of shared. Are there any examples within the community and culture of the creatures that you've studied, mythological creatures, that have been shared with other places or cultures around the world?
Yes, there are these creatures called the Manananggal. They are self-segmenters, so that means they can split themselves in half. And the top half is the one that flies and preys on pregnant women. So you can see this myth a lot in Southeast Asia. In Thailand, they call it the Krause. In Malaysia, they call it the Penanggalan. So, yeah.
Okay.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck, you got anything you want to?
Oh yeah. I just want to dive into Tressay stuff because I'm pretty sure he's the man.
Okay.
He has the whole blog on Tressay mythological creatures. Did you read? You read the comic, I assume.
Yes, of course.
Were the creatures adequately represented in the comic? I haven't read the comic yet. I'm trying to get my hands on it. I haven't been able to get my hands on the comic book yet. I want the physical comic book.
Yeah, there are some artistic liberties that Budget took with depictions of the creatures, but all in all, they stay pretty faithful.
Okay.
Source material.
Okay. And you saw the anime, I assume. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay. How does the comic book compare to the anime in your opinion?
The comic book, it's a bit I found it harder to root for the character of Alexandra Tressay in the comic book because there's not much vulnerability. Like, the stakes aren't.
Oh, are we losing? He's frozen?
That high enough.
Oh, you froze on us a little bit there, Karl. You froze on us.
Okay.
We lost you
sorry.
you said the stakes weren't high enough.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, sometimes the stakes aren't high enough so that you don't really root for Alexandra that much. But in the anime, there's more vulnerability with the character of Trese.
Okay.
Well, Karl, we talked about it a little earlier. This is kind of the first anime focused on the Philippines. It's supported by the Philippine community, the actors, the background, the showrunners, all of those things. How is Tressay being received in the Filipino community?
In the Philippines, it's been getting memed a lot. It's very popular here.
Nice. I remember. Go ahead. Go ahead, Carl.
Oh no, go ahead.
I heard they had one of the best marketing campaigns. They had like the Tressay billboards and posters, and then people came and did graffiti over top of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard that was
It
really
was very
popular.
interesting.
Could you
Yeah.
explain it to us? Because we didn't see it. We only heard about it.
Right.
Did you see it?
Yeah, the billboards of Trese were vandalized with "This is our city, go away, go away"
Mm-hmm.
in Filipino, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And there were found footage type of CCTV where you'd see monsters vandalizing the Trese posters.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
I like that. That's pretty dope. I like that.
That's cool.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
transitioning to monsters and creatures in the series, what are some of your favorite creatures or some of the ones that really stood out to you?
Well, of course, the aswang, which is the central Filipino mythical creature.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the San Telmo,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty interesting depiction of what they get. Because regularly San Telmo are said to be souls of people lost at sea,
Mm-hmm.
and you keep them away from sinking your boat by sprinkling salt on your sails. But in Trese, the San Telmo is like a fire elemental that she calls up with her cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
and it just burns stuff for her.
Yeah, that was one
Okay,
of my.
I'm
favorites.
I'm
ahead.
glad that you mentioned that because we're talking about mythical creatures, and then we're introduced to a mythical creature who has to be summoned with modern technology. So I was like, okay, I wonder, like, what is the original story behind the creature without the technology? Like, how was that creature summoned? Is there like a correlation with the cell phone and the history of how you bring it in? Can you speak on the history on how that works?
Well, the cell phone summoning ritual was artistic license
Okay.
given done by Budget himself.
Okay.
But usually you don't summon these creatures. Like, they just appear in their realms.
Okay. Okay. I have a question about a creature. The
Okay.
tikbalang.
Oh, tikbalang.
Yeah, tikbalang. So the tikbalang is horse, but not horse. Well, you know the mixture of that creature, where that came from?
Yeah. It's a reverse centaur.
Oh.
So they have like the upper part of a horse and the
Mhm.
lower part of a human.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So, I'm sorry, Johnny. I'm over here just going. Did you have a question?
man, go ahead. Go ahead.
So one of the things that's like really noticeable about the series, well, at least for me, was just how kind of like visceral some of the violence and the gore is. Especially with one character in particular, towards the very end, there's a man who's literally cutting chunks of his body off, and making people eat them. I had a couple of moments where I kind of had to like look away from the screen because that's just kind of tough to kind of just to kind of bring in. But it served its purpose. It served its purpose in being gruesome. Was the level of violence and blood that you saw in there, was it like on par with the expectation of these creatures, or like just how did you feel about that?
Or did budget go too far?
No, it was pretty much what you'd expect from stories like this. Because if you talk about aswang, it's very bloody, especially the depictions that they have with local movies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it just met expectations.
Okay.
Okay. Another quick question. This is your personal opinion. Are there any mythological creatures that you really love and people should know about from the Philippines?
Oh yeah, definitely. There is this being called the Taawi.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's a monster that eats people, but it cannot digest eyeballs.
Oh.
So if you capture it and rip open its stomach, you can resurrect its victims from the eyeballs.
Oh. How
Really?
difficult is it to capture one though?
Very difficult.
Okay.
In descriptions, it says it is as fast as the wind.
Mm.
Oh, wow. What's the origins of that story? Like, who actually created that type of monster?
It's a creature from the Maranao ethno-linguistic group in
Mhm.
Mindanao, in the Philippines.
Okay.
So if I'm interested in mythological creatures and folklore and all of those things, what is a good source where I could go to satisfy my appetite?
Well, no, it's backwards. But here, Damiano Eugenio's Philippine folk literature series. That's a great source for this. Also, Maximo Ramos's Creatures of Philippine Lower Mythology, which is like a dictionary for mythical creatures.
I have one better. I have a better source. Philippine Spirits, your website.
I was hoping you were going to say that, but you're humble and I appreciate it. You plugged the book, so
Yeah. So we'll grab your book and we'll go to the website. I'm gonna post it out there for people.
right.
Yeah.
I had
Thank you,
one
man.
more question.
Go ahead, Centel.
Yeah.
I
go
had
ahead.
one more question because I'm fascinated by what it is that you study, and linguistics is one. So, all right. So as an anime fan, like there's like you kind of get looked down upon if you listen to like English dubs. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like the purists will look at you and be like, "Man, you over here listening to dubs? I don't know if you real, right?" So I gotta ask. I only watched the English dub version. Did you listen to it in its native tongue? And if so, would you recommend that over the English dub, and why?
Okay. This is a hard one because it's the Tagalog dub has been very controversial.
Okay.
A lot of people feel like they should have just gotten actual voice actors instead of a Philippine celebrity because that's who they eventually got. Honestly, I would recommend watching it in English first.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you hear that, all you anime purists? It's okay to watch the English dub. Don't judge me. I know how you all get.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I got tons of questions. I mean, I just want to make sure I'm not hitting y'all over the head
Go
with
ahead,
it because
man. Do your
I
thing.
enjoyed the project.
Do
I
your
enjoyed the
thing,
project.
man.
Do you have time? First of all, let's ask Carl. Does he have time to stay a little longer, or do you have
Yeah.
somewhere to go? Okay, he has a little bit of time.
Of
We gotta
course.
get into this, Centel. We gotta get to the show.
Oh, I am because you get a chance to veg out from a different perspective, right? So and that kind of jumps into this question as well. As somebody that watches anime, I definitely respect your geek gangster. What other projects in the culture would you like to see portrayed as another anime? Like what would you put on the list?
Arnold Aris, the mythology class, definitely.
I'm looking all this stuff up as you talk. Arnold Iris, mythology class.
What else? Ella Arcangel. So that's already getting an anime treatment. Tablay. It's this story that's turning into a graphic novel about mecha Philippine mythical creatures.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
And I promise you, I'm gonna shut up now and let Everybody else speak.
So, Carl, I mean, you're studying folklore and mythology. I mean, I don't know if that is a very lucrative or sort of profession or background. So, what gives you kind of the kahunas to go out there and say, I'm going to really follow my passion and do what it is that I want to do? And if somebody else came to you and was like, hey, I'm interested in doing this as well, what advice would you give them?
Well, I would tell them it's a lot of work for not that much appreciation. Because you, like, for me, I travel well, I used to travel before the pandemic happened around the Philippines to get insights on mythical creatures. So it's rough. To anyone that wants to do what I've been doing, you just gotta be patient and stay the course, because I do it because I love it. Like, I I just find it so fascinating and interesting that I might as well do it, because, like, if, and they always say in linguistics, if not now, when? If not you, who? Right?
Okay.
And I got one more follow-up for you, then I'll let Chuck jump in there. Okay, in mythology, let's say Greek mythology, Zeus is king of the gods, right? Or if we talk about Egyptian mythology, we've got Osiris and Isis. In the mythology, specifically with Tressay, or we could go with Filipino mythology, who's just the biggest badass amongst all the creatures and the gods or anything like that?
Because the thing with mythology in the Philippines, and I don't like to use the word Filipino mythology, because there are 175 ethno-linguistic groups in the country, each with their own gods and goddesses and their pantheons.
Wow.
Usually in pop culture, the head honcho god is called Bathala, but the problem is that he's from the Tagalog pantheon.
Okay.
So you'd have equivalents of, like, Gayoma in Tingwian myth and other stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have anybody in the chat that has a question for Carl?
This is so exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Carl, we would have you on here all day if we could.
Anybody out there? This is a good opportunity.
Yep.
Angie's. Okay. All right. Well, until then, Chuck, do you have a question?
No, I don't want to burn up too much of Carl's time, and we had to get to the rating of this show because we got to dive deep. Carl's gonna listen to us mispronounce all kinds of names today.
Hey, forgive me now for that, because
forgive us all, Carl.
I will give my best, though. We will certainly give our best try.
Oh. Which creatures in Tressay was your favorite? Wilding Child asked the question.
The Tikbalang, I guess. Maliksi, the romantic interest of Trese.
Okay.
It's interesting because, like, in the myths, there are 3 golden hairs on the top of the Tikbalang's mane. So if you wrestle it and get those 3 golden hairs, you can make it your slave, and it will have to obey your requests.
Wow, that's probably almost impossible to get those 3 golden hairs. Is there a story where somebody actually got the 3 golden hairs from one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's few.
Okay. I don't.
Go ahead, Chuck.
I don't have any more questions. I mean, I'm just impressed. I'm in awe right now.
Yep.
Because I was like, I got to read more about these creatures after I watched the show.
Yeah, man. And, like, I don't know, like, in school, I never really learned about that from a Filipino perspective. It was always like Greek and Roman, a sprinkle of some Egyptian things like that, but it's a whole big old world out there. And I appreciate you coming here to help expose us to all the great things that's coming from the mythology and the culture and the folklore and all those things.
Of course. No
Yeah.
problem.
Thank you, Karl. We're about to have you on here once more because I'm pretty sure more things are going to come out of the Philippines now.
As they should.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And you let us know when you're working on something.
Yep.
When your anime comes.
We'll see.
Yep. Hey, you got a home and friends here at the Geekish Network, Karl. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
All right, take care.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
A nice little deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. I like that. It's a nice little geek dive. Absolutely.
Yeah, geek dive. We're gonna start using that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Chuck.
I hope the chat really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I hope so too.
That was our first special guest on the Geekish Network. The second on BingeWorthy, but our first on the Geekish Network. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it was it's a good selection because one of the big things that move the story in Tressay are the creatures, or the mythical creatures. So
absolutely.
To have somebody who is an expert in that area that was just a very good decision. I hope everybody got a lot out of it.
So we had a great guest. We want to be respectful of everybody's time. So we're gonna just jump right into this. FYI, they're gonna be mad spoiler alert. So if you haven't watched it and spoilers bother you, you need to turn this shit off right now and then watch the replay after you've watched the series.
I say since we spent so much time with Karl, we just take the next 30 minutes just to hash it out. Everything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, man, I'm gonna start here with you, Centel. So we came into this world, Tressay, and we've been talking about it, right? So we've got mythological creatures, we got zombies, we got horror things, we got murder mystery, we even got some Fast and the Furious streetcar racing in this series. So it's really dynamic. I'm interested in your opinion of how do you think this story weaved all of these elements, these different elements together?
Okay, so here's the thing. I was wondering that because as we're going along, taking this journey, a lot of the individual episodes could kind of stand on their own because you get introduced to like one particular type of creature and then the story behind it and the influence on that particular story. So a lot of it was kind of like standalone. So when we're getting like closer to the end, I'm like, how's this all going to tie together? And they do a very good job of all the pieces, all the individual stories, the purpose behind it, and it works. You're like, oh, okay, now I can see like the full big picture. You can watch just the last episode and kind of get a really good gist of all the players and what their purpose was. It was really ambitious to do all that and compile all of that into 6 episodes.
Yeah. 6 30-minute episodes.
Yeah, 6 30-minute episodes. I mean, it was jam-packed full of stuff. I was impressed by that because there's a lot. We reviewed some stuff that just wasn't able to accomplish that feat with the amount of episodes. I wish it was longer. I wish it was maybe like 2 more episodes long, but that's just because I'm just greedy. You know, it didn't necessarily have to have 2 more episodes. I just wanted another 2 more episodes.
I would have liked 2 more episodes as well, because I thought they could have fleshed out some things a little bit more. Like I love episode 6 where they're talking about his father Alton and how he kind of manipulated things. And I thought if we got like a little bit, I thought if we had some more episodes, we could have actually seen those events. And when Tressay went into, what was it, the tree, and to go through her rites of ritual passage, I thought it would have been cool to see some of the challenges and adventures that she went through. And so it wasn't necessarily that we needed it, but I thought like we could have really fleshed this thing out if we had a couple more episodes.
Yeah.
agree completely with that, brother. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Chuck, man, you know more about animation than anybody that I know. How did you feel about the quality of the animation for this series?
The quality of animation was okay. It was definitely inexpensive animation. You could tell. I do love the art style. The art style, I think, was beautiful. If it's fitting, I wish Netflix could see the beauty of what this story was, and at least double to triple the budget of it all. There's a lot of stills in it, a lot of cheaply done anime. It's a very smart animation style. It felt like something that came on Cartoon Network. They were targeting a specific viewer, but they were unsure if this was going to do well or not. Like, I think, people said there's a pilot episode. I think this was a pilot season. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like this is good. The animation was good enough to sell. The story trumped animation. The story was so good, and some introduction of the characters. I wish there was more movement in the animation itself, but the art style I do love. I love how they drew the characters, and particularly the combo, the twins. I really did like them. I liked how they felt, and I wish we had more characters like that. And we had a limited number of characters we dealt with too. The Philippines is a very big place, and I wish we could have delved into more.
And that's why we would have had a couple more episodes. I feel like we could have done some of those things. Because I'm imagining when she went into that tree for 5 years, it was all kinds of just like dope shit we probably would have came into.
She was gone for 5 years.
I'd imagine you could probably run an entire season just off of what's on in the tree.
Yeah. And what her father was doing outside the tree.
Yeah, man.
You gotta think he went to war after he put her in the tree. Like, he went to war.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the father just because I got some questions about him.
How much of what we're saying is true. Like,
man. So, but we're gonna talk about
we're talking about that.
Yeah. There's so many questions I have leaving this season. Like, when she came back after she went into the altered world with the God of War. When she came back, we don't know what time period she's in. But we do know is that everybody she loved behind her was assumed dead. Like, even the twins were gone. Like, they all were there and they're waving at her, right? They're all lined up and they're waving at her when she had the vision of them. So we're not even sure if they're still alive or not.
Absolutely, man. So in this series, like, we've talked about all the creatures, but one of the things that I noticed is we saw some like government corruption, police brutality, exploitation of the poor. So it infused a lot of political elements. How do we, Centel, how do you think that impacted the story?
Yo, the police brutality was one of the, for obvious reasons. The police brutality was one of the first things I like really picked up. I'm like, yo, y'all really about to go there. And that whole moment of what's my name, I felt that. Tell me their names. And then there was, of course, there's the reveal when, he's like, I'm haunted by these names. Tell me yours so that I can, have reverence with that as well. But it lets you know that some of the connecting issues that we have can be global issues. There's political corruption. That's the thing that we see here on the state level and the national level. You see it on national levels in other countries as well. Abuse of power. That's just, it's to incorporate that, because a lot of these monsters are kind of like gangs, right? And there is kind of like gang warfare within the city, and the manipulation of power structures in order to enforce their will, and the people that suffer from it, the small people through police brutality, corruption through elected officials. So it was just cool that they put these mythical creatures in real world situations and connected the dots and made it be like, okay, I can kind of see that happening.
You know what shocked me when I saw this? Humans are still the real monsters.
Because the mayor was horrible. Like, he was just
humans
horrible.
Are still the real monsters.
Yeah. And those cops were out there. I was like, they're pissing me off already.
And the Philippines is going through that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Their president is on some real Donald Trump like shit, like real bad.
Like kill everybody that's assumed to be drug dealer.
Yeah.
Like, we don't question them. We just execute them.
Well, that definitely speaks, a lot of truth to the art. You know, your art is what you is based a lot of times on your environment. So it speaks that truth. Good for them. Good for the writers to be bold in the art.
One thing I liked about this, the comic book is in black and white.
Is it always because it started that way?
It's always in black and white. It's in black and white. And there was talks at Netflix about making this black and white, and they push it into color. And I'm glad
they did color though. That would have been interesting.
Because as bloody as it is, I think you need to see the red.
I mean, imagine if they made it all black and white and the blood is red, like kind of like Sin
that
City.
Would be kind of cool, like a Sin City kind of thing.
That's what I was thinking, Sin City. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like the fact they use color. I do it because they use really good muted colors. Like nothing was like really, really bright. It felt a lot of things felt neutral.
Yeah, I thought this series was brave in a lot of things it did. And I'm gonna skip ahead just a little bit. Episode, I think it's 3, where we have about the actress and she has a baby and souls with babies. I was like, oh shit, Netflix really took it there. They show her killing a baby, leaving one in the room, and then the souls of the babies coming back to haunt them. So I thought this series, it did not play it safe at all. Chuck, what are your thoughts?
Man, I thought this series went there. I think they went there a number of ways. The fact they went into Tagalog, I think it's Tagalog. I won't say that's the language they use. On my subtitles it says Filipino. I was like, there's no language called Filipino in the Philippines. They put Filipino, and I'm assuming it's Tagalog. That they actually spoke it, and they brought it up, and I thought that was powerful because they could have played it completely safe and made it all in English. The fact they used native tongue in certain parts. And that the voice cast in English, I kind of enjoyed, and I thought it was good. I thought the monsters are good. They didn't spend too much time exposition explaining who they were and what they were.
I was happy for that.
They just it was like they dropped you in this world and you just ride with it.
Yeah. Cynthia, how'd you feel about? Because a lot of times I think series get bogged down. They try to explain every iota about the creature or or anything, and it can slow the story down. I think we saw that in Yasuke when we were evaluating it. It kind of slowed it down with the constant flashback. So, but this series, as Troy pointed out, just kind of went with it, and we didn't get a bunch of backstory. Do you feel like that was effective for the story, or would you have wanted to know more?
Well, there were some things I did want to know, but I understood that speed is of the essence. And like, for instance, the methods that were used in The Conjuring, they didn't really go into a lot of detail regarding those methods. You just saw her doing a lot of this stuff, and you just kind of just went with it. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like, for instance, there's the thing with the bottle cap that's on the edge of the string. You know, that was kind of like used as like a seeker per se. Where you
almost
just
a compass. I thought like a compass.
Right. Well, you just have to use the context of its application to figure out like kind of like what it is. With the eyeball as well, you know, you just kind of see the context, and then you see, it's the last thing the person kind of saw before they passed. Even with the ritual circles and stuff like that, for the sake of speed. And not getting bogged down into the details, because you could have easily had these long expositions like you see in a lot of anime, like films like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z or whatever it is, where they have an entire episode explaining a specific style. You know what I'm saying? Like this series didn't have the time for that, and I appreciate them for speeding up the process when it comes to those specific techniques.
Interesting. Good. So I've noticed, man, we've been talking about 15 minutes, and we haven't even mentioned the protagonist of the series, Alexandra Tressay. So she's the Laken. She's the connect between the mythical world and the human world. She's a fighter, you know. Her father was a badass. So what do we think about the protagonist of this series? Chuck, what are your feelings on Tressay?
I think I'm going to say this is maybe controversial to the Filipino community. I think Shay Miller was a great voice for Alexandra Tressay. That somber, I thought she was cool. She reminded me of Constantine, but not Constantine at all. She reminded me of that. She reminded me of, like, she felt like kind of like she knew the world and she was content of being in this world. And she was a detective. She was there to solve all the missions that had magical and mythical creatures involved for the police department. And she wasn't afraid. She was not fearful of anything. You know.
What are your thoughts, Intel?
The Constantine reference is really good, Chuck. I felt that immediately, and I'm a huge Constantine fan. He's just cool, you know. He deals with otherworldly activities and still has like a bit of a Batman element. Her hands and her combat is more Batman-esque than Constantine is.
She's badass.
Yeah, because she got hands for you. Like if you really want that work, she got it for you. And then there's like a little bit of a Batman-esque with her double Robins as her sidekick. They help with detective work, and they're just bodyguards that can give you that work as well. And you still have like a bit of like the Commissioner Gordon kind of feel that goes along with it with the police chief. So there was a lot of, I'm not sure if that's who the writers and the creators of the story were basing it on, but I would believe that they would have like a strong influence on her character. I thought she was okay. She may not be the warmest person to warm up to regarding her character, but if you think about the space that she's in and the things that she sees, it makes sense that she would seem kind of cold. Whereas Constantine, it's easier to give him to let him off the leash because he kind of like falls into alcohol and he's smoking his cigarettes or whatever it is, his vices, in order to kind of like justify the way he acts. She doesn't really have that. So it's just I liked her. She just wasn't, to me, she wasn't the star of the show, if that makes sense. There was other elements of the show that I liked that made it a lot more
and those
watchable than specifically her.
And for her to be in the protagonist and push the storyline, like outside of her honey things, we don't know that much about her. That's why I thought another 2 more episodes, those are things we could have fleshed out maybe a little bit more about her.
Okay, can I say something to Centel? Like you know, where he relied on where Constantine relied on alcohol and smoking, she cried. She cried in this episode. Like she got her moments to herself, and she cried to herself
twice. We got her twice crying.
Yeah, like she was still in pain from what happened to her father. She came back. He pushed her. She lost her mother. She necessarily doesn't know how she lost her mother, right? Her mother was like, "Go to the hiding place."
She saw the body. She saw the body.
But she said,
"Oh, we did see the body. She did walk by.
Yeah, walk by the body. Yeah." But her mother said, "Go to the hiding place right now. Don't come out until I come and get you."
Yeah. So
So you don't know what happened there.
We don't know how old she is. I was interested because she looks to me really young. Like she's still growing in her power and her knowledge. Because when she went into the tree or whatever, she looked like she was about 16, 17 years old.
When she went into the tree, she didn't seem that old though.
I don't know. She didn't seem very old to me when she went into it.
No, she didn't.
And I don't know how long they age or what time period it is, but she did not look very old.
All we know is the twins were boys. They were like young boys, and they were men when she came back out. Or we see her, and they're men.
Let's transition to. Go ahead,
Basilio. Go ahead.
No, please. Let's take that transition.
I was gonna say let's transition over to the brothers, man. I absolutely love them as adults. Crispin and Basilio. Basilio, yeah. They were just amazing to me. Like and we talked about maybe Tressay was a little stoic. They definitely were not. They were visceral. They were raw. So, how we feeling about the brothers, Centel?
Yo, I really loved them when it was the drag street racing episode when they saw the other two spirits. And they went over like they knew that they were spirits of the two lady spirits, even though we didn't as the audience. But they went over kind of like to holler, like, hey, what's going on over here? Let me get these quick. Yeah, I mean, and it just made them a lot. Yeah, it made them breathing more life into them because their faces without the masks are a little flat. But then when you put the masks on them, it adds a whole other element to them because they look dope. And then it's just it's just cool to just see them have that pistol work to go along with it. Like I've never seen that done before, like that. They were a lot of fun. They breathed a lot of life.
Yeah. And they showed the humanity of Tressay. I think they showed the humanity of Alexandria too, because when they needed to escape, they grabbed her and they flew off with her. Like it wasn't her own power that she could do that. Like she was there. Like when she was in the house and they were like, "We're not gonna wait for you to come bust up in here." We knew it was time to bust up in here.
Right, we're gonna have some fun. You can't leave all the work to yourself.
Yeah. And after the race,
gun out in the end.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool. Like after the race, the prize was them, and they didn't realize that. So they were
so they were sitting there with the spirits, and they're like, "Oh, we were the prize.
We were the prize. Bossing, we're the prize. Bossing." I was like, she sat there and threw them out there. She pimped out her little brothers.
Another little funny moment to me was when they were in the back of Hank's car, and he's got the old school roll down. They're like, "How the hell do you roll down the window?" So like a bunch of kids. It's this disconnect. The kids don't know how to do it. I thought that was funny, and I thought they were important, like because they really did have a bond with Tressay, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they're brother and sisters at this point, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they're family.
Yeah,
and I thought that they were needed in this series to show like her real connection with people, not just on like this is duty, but I do this out of love.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. At first she didn't want to, right? She was like, they're children of the god of war.
I mean, can you blame her?
Yeah. That man killed his lover. It's like, I'm gonna kill these boys too. Don't worry about it.
Like, he gave me more food to eat or whatever it was that he said. I was like, dang, you gonna really?
Yeah. When he killed her, when she brought him back, you were saying to yourself, what? So you thought like, at least I did. I thought like they're going to rule as husband and wife or attempt to. He was like, I don't really need you.
Don't need you. It was truly on some Trigon level.
Yeah.
It was Trigon level, like Raven's father. Like, I killed your mother because I didn't need her. She's a human too. She has to die.
Yeah, and I think the showrunner for this, I think I read in my research somewhere that he actually used to work for DC and he did a lot of the DC Dark animated stuff. So when you all were talking about Constantine and some Batman, like I could definitely see those influences in the way the show was depicted. I'd be interested how the comic depicted, because Karl even said she's different. She's different in the comics than she is in the animated version.
Yeah. The fact that they made her more vulnerable, he said, made her good in the animated version.
I had heard, I don't know how much truth this holds. Maybe you in your research you might have heard it. I had heard the original concept for Tressay was that she was supposed to be a he. It was supposed to be a guy. And I wonder how that would have like changed the tone. I think them going with a female protagonist was a great idea, especially considering the bond that she had with her mother, and then that daddy-daughter relationship. I think just really worked well on the screen. I don't know if it would have translated as well per se with that. And then it's just cool to see a lady badass too.
Right. And we don't just see like a white male doing it, and so we see a woman doing it, and a woman like it's cool. It's cool, and we need more of that in all universes out there, right? We need more women protagonists out there, more women writers out there. Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
You know something I kind of wish, it's a little bit off the subject, but I kind of wish that the default play is the native tongue is it Pinoy? Did I say that?
You said Pinoy. Yeah, Pinoy.
Okay. I kind of wish that the default setting to play and hear it was the native tongue, because it would have forced you initially to have to hear it the way it's supposed to originally be said. Because there's something, like we've had this conversation a couple of times regarding listening to the English dubs compared to hearing how it was originally voice dubbed. And it would have been cool to hear that story being told and something that may not be familiar to a lot of people in the States, that particular language, and hear that style of storytelling, and then give us the option to switch to English. I would have rather that, because I think we probably would have even been more involved in the culture if you given that option first. So
absolutely.
That's just one thing. It's a small thing.
Yeah, because we saw that with Jujutsu Kaisen. Like watching the Japanese version, like it was vastly superior to the English dub version. And going back and watching it that way, yeah. So I can definitely see how that can bring us into the culture.
Yeah, but Carl brought us something important. His same thing happened with Lakeith Stanfield. He said they brought in celebrities and then bring in voice actors for it.
Was that for the
Filipino version?
Mm-hmm. They pulled a Lakeith, huh?
They pulled a Lakeith. Yeah, they just brought in somebody who was famous.
They brought in a bunch of famous actors and not voice actors.
I wonder where they what they even brought in, like, what's the Filipino Kim Kardashian version, right? So we want to make this popular. So we get somebody out there that's really popular. Maybe it impacted the quality.
Oh, I bet that's got to be frustrating.
Or they said, like, who's the Lakeith for the twins? Like, who do we get the Lakeith Stanfields of the twins and the Donald Glovers?
Yeah. The only thing that
they're
I would
actors,
say is,
but they're not voice actors.
Animal, that's two different. That's a different muscle.
The only thing I'll say is that maybe they actually thought that Lakeith would do a good job, and once he got the job, he just didn't execute, because Lakeith isn't a household name. It's not oh shit, Lakeith Stanfield. I mean, for people who are fans of his project, but he's not going.
Yeah,
he's a great actor. That's what's crazy. He's a very good actor,
and that's the thing that maybe they thought he just did. But we don't want to bash on.
Yeah. So
Tressay.
So Tressay. So that's what they said. That's what Carl said the Filipino voice was like. He said he started off watching in English first, because Shay's a voice actress, and they had all the actors they have from the Philippines here. They have both of those skills. You got to think they're like black actors and actresses where you're a comedian, you're a voice actor, you're a stunt person, you're a normal actor, you're a stage actor, like you're everything when you do in Hollywood, because you have to be. Okay, you're just trying to get work.
One of the characters, they stood out a little bit to me was Nuno, right?
Nuno.
The guy, he's coming out of the sewer. He's a snitch, right? He's snitching on the underworld with Tressay. So, I mean, we've had a lot of snitches in literature, right? I think of Bubbles from The Wire, Huggy from Starsky and Hutch. We even go Leo DiCaprio in The Departed. So he's up there with the famous snitches, at least to me. And at first I thought he was kind of a bumbling character, like almost what's the dude's name from Star Wars?
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, Jar Jar Binks. But like his arc, he had a full arc, I thought, in this series, from who he started off to even in the middle to who he eventually became.
Yes.
How did you guys feel about Nuno?
I liked the arc.
I thought it was interesting.
I liked the arc because I didn't like him at first, because I'm like, here goes the snitch. There's always one. And then when you find out that he had a bigger scheme, a bigger plan, I was like, okay, that was cool. I honestly didn't see that coming. So
I know that was a total surprise. I mean, when he came out as a snitch, I was like, he's a snitch with some badass creatures with him, though. That's what I thought of him, because the rock creatures popped up.
Dope.
Like, what?
Yeah,
they're like, what? I thought Nuno was like the Flea King. Like he's like the guy that runs the underworld mob, like all the thieves and stuff, and he snitches on the side, because he don't care about nobody but himself. Like, look, I have my underworld, I got my muscle, but I snitch on people in a minute. It ain't me.
And that's one of the things.
The game. I liked his look too. I thought his look was cool. I thought the art style for him was really cool.
Yeah, and those are some of the things like I'm looking forward to in season 2, because as we said, and it helped the project. We didn't get a lot of backstory, but we can build on a lot of characters if this is a season 2. And I hope they give us 8 or even 10 episodes, or even expanded maybe like 45 minutes as opposed to 30 minutes, because I really enjoyed being in this world.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump to the big bad. The big bad. Sintel, I know you love a good villain. I know that's your thing, man.
Hey, baby, that's my bag.
So was it the God of War? What's his name?
Oh man,
let me pull up his name. Yeah, I just had it
myself.
I just had it.
Okay, yeah. We'll have to come to
one of the things though that he in episode 6, he's telling Tressay like, "Your father ain't the hero you thought he was. He kind of ain't shit."
I got his name. His name is Datu Talagbasao.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Busao.
So the first question I want to ask is, do you think he is telling the truth? We'll go with you, Chantel.
I do.
I do too.
Think he's telling the truth. He's like, listen, it's not as sweet as you think it is. Yo, I like him because he's like, his whole bag is like, listen, I'm like Mother Nature. I'm like the seasons. You fighting against something that happens all the time. Yo, this time comes up, I destroy stuff, I reset it, and I let y'all have fun until my next coming. This is a cycle, baby. You fighting the inevitable. And I felt that, he's not tearing shit up just because he's tearing shit up. It's just his purpose. That's just my job. You mad at me because I'm clocking in, and your daddy didn't even tell you the truth that this is my job. Your daddy's selfish. I need you to get that. I need you to understand that. Your daddy got he's selfish to the point that all your friends and your mama even died because he's selfish. This is what I do. That's why I liked him. And he's like, if you want these hands, I'll give you these hands. Man. But I still got to clock in.
Yeah.
So what about you, Chuck? Like, you think he's telling the truth, or maybe he's manipulating it? What are your thoughts?
I think he's telling the truth too. I think he was a badass. He was like my favorite character. He was like, look, this is what needs to be done. Your daddy's been lying to you. Your daddy's so evil. He killed your twin sister. He killed your twin sister, because he didn't want to see what happened. Because your mom and daddy had 4 kids, and they knew it's the sixth child of the sixth child, and your mama got pregnant with twins.
And he was trying to avoid what all the prophecies were saying.
Yeah, he didn't realize the prophecy was on him.
Killed your sister. Like, that ain't your sister tonight. He killed her.
Matter of fact, he knew it so well. He kept it secret from everybody because nobody paid that much attention to it as much as he did. And he knew it was happening. He's like, well, I'm about to have 5 kids, so it ain't gonna happen to me. Boom. And then the prophecy had a way with him and gave him 6 kids.
Yeah. And it involved the whole underworld and all the humanity. Like, it was a civil war, right? It was basically a civil war. He basically caused a
civil war to cover it all up.
Yeah, and the other group
when she went into the tree, I wonder what happened.
Me too.
After that.
Me too, man.
I want to know what happened to the other 4 kids.
Yes. What happened to the other 4 kids?
Because there's a spoiler at the end. There's a spoiler at the end. If you watched it past the credits, there's a bit of a reveal. And I'm willing to bet it's a sibling in some capacity.
I bet you that's the 5th child.
I thought the 5th, but like that's too easy to go with. Like, I thought it was the 5th one.
Yeah,
at least that's what I want. I want the 5th kid. I want the 5th kid because I want to see that. And I don't know when the guy, when he was giving his little exposition, there's a picture of her kind of ruling. Like, she's in a black dress, she's busty out, and then the 2 twins are kind of sitting there like holding shop. Yeah. And she got a grimace on her face as if she's kind of evil now. Or
it's like Hellboy.
Right. Were we able to peer into the future and see what Tressay becomes? That was interesting.
Or what if the father killed the 6th kid and kept the 5th kid alive and convinced the 5th kid they were really the 6th kid and convinced the God of War that? Because in order for the God of War to destroy everything, he needs the 6th kid.
Yeah, man. So
we think he needs the 5th kid to cause the 6th kid to do what they do. But what the 6th kid can do what they do because the God of War said, I'm going to do what I need to do even without the 5th kid. You're going to do it for me.
I'm clocking in.
So I need you to get on board. So if I was the father, knowing that, I would kill the 6th kid and keep the 5th kid.
Whatever it is, man, this was good storytelling because it added layers and complexity to an already complex story, and it really changed your perception. Because I'm almost seeing like Alton, Tressay, I'm almost seeing him as like a villain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's a lot of information out there that I don't know, right? And maybe we fill things in, right? But
like Letro
right here.
Like Letro and the son, the father. Was Letro's dad wrong? You killed my son. I'm getting revenge for my family.
That dude, man.
This is for my family.
After he told Yeah. After he told her to stay out of their business. So she comes to the office. He's in his human form, and he's basically, the accords are over with now. We moving past that. You know, we're finding out better ways. And then she gets into a fight with his son. She kills him. Yeah.
The block was
Yeah,
hot.
At that point, the block was hot, and she didn't have any real backup right anymore. Right. The chorus was something that they signed with their dad. Like, you're not your dad. Why are we even respecting this? Like.
Hey, there was also
and this
there was
after the massacre the dad did on the other
Yeah.
tribes when she went into the tree.
There was also a little bit of the hint of her future gangster level, right? And that is the runner to the Mistress of Death, that lady.
Yeah.
She came by and she was like, "Listen, we just want to pay homage because we know what you're about to become." And she kind of like waved, Tressay kind of like waved it off, and she's like, "Nah, that's not really me." But when
the goddess of death comes to you like, "We want to be with you,"
right,
that's a bad sign, right?
Yes. Guys was like, "Well, whatever. We just want you to know we on your side."
Right.
However,
Hades
out.
Right. When Hades comes to you and like, "Yeah, I'm supporting you," you gotta start to think like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, they saw the writing on the wall, and they're like, "We can
the
go ahead and
road
hedge
with
our bets. We with you."
Yeah,
she
we
just
with you.
waved it off. They're
Yeah,
like,
just
"Nah,
with
don't
you."
wave that off. We know what you are."
Yeah.
All right, fellas, we've talked ad nauseum, so let's go ahead and rate this thing. We'll start with you, Chuck. How are you going to rate it? And for those out there, shame on you if you're not listening before, but we appreciate all new fans to the BingeWorthy podcast. We have a unique BingeWorthy rating scale. At a 5, it is a binge out. That means you got everything that you needed for it. You watched it all back to back, or you just really enjoyed this project. Then we have it at a 4. That is a full meal. Now, it's not quite a binge out, but it satisfies you. You go to bed feeling good. It's a great meal. It was really respectful of your time. Then we have what's called a mini meal, and a mini meal is just average. It's sustainable, but it's not great. It's not good. It's just sustainable. A snack is something at a number 2. You know, it's not sustaining at all. It's not that good. You're just sitting on the couch, comfort food. It's not good at all. And then we have a 1, and that's a cringeworthy, and that's just some old bullshit. Like, Chuck, why the hell did you put this on the list? So, speaking of Chuck, how you gonna rate this, bro?
I'm gonna be honest. I gave it a full binge out. I watched it twice. 6 episodes. My only problem is it's too short. I wish Netflix gave it 4 more episodes. 4 more. I don't think they would have dropped the ball at all. It didn't drop the ball at all for me. The little hoes they had in it, I thought it was just picked up in episodes of this person's life, trying to figure things out. They didn't spend too much time explaining who she was, what she was. All you know is she's a badass and she does what she does and she solves crimes. And that's it. I gave it a full binge out. I actually enjoyed it. The animation quality could have been better, but I understand where Netflix was with that. I thought this was a pilot season. Hopefully they give it a second season. And like they did Transformers the first season, they dumped way more money into the animation quality. Because second season of Transformers is far superior than the first season of Transformers as far as animation quality.
Okay.
I think they can do the same thing for this.
So we got a binge out. Centel, bro, how you feel about Tressay?
I really enjoyed it. The story's good. The characters outside of the central character were interesting. They were fun. You know, I definitely understood why they were doing what they were doing. I thought the last 2 episodes were very good. The first 4 were decent. For me, a full-blown binge out is when I really do just binge it out. It's just I just literally can't stop watching it. Unfortunately, this just wasn't that for me. Not to say I didn't like it. I absolutely enjoyed it. It was good, but I just didn't feel compelled to be like, I have to see the next one. I have to see the next one. So if there's a way, or I know we have those in between ones. It's in between a 4 and a 5, a 4.5. It just barely fell short of a 5, just because it just didn't have me nonstop with it. But I would absolutely recommend it. I'm looking forward to season 2, and I enjoyed the run. So a 4.5.
Yeah, so we'll put that in a full meal, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, we'll put it as a full meal.
We'll put a
Ain't no
full meal.
halves, dog. Ain't no half
Yeah.
size.
Right, you're right.
Ain't no halfway
buffet,
crooks out
right?
here.
It ain't a binge, y'all. It's a buffet. But we gonna put it as a full meal. All right.
Full meal for me.
So for me, I thought there were a lot of things that I really loved about this series. And one of the things that I loved about it, it was really a murder mystery. It was almost Law and Order in the mythical world. Like each episode had its standalone episode. You could have picked up anywhere from, I think, from episode 1 to 3 and not missed anything, right? Because they were standalone. She was solving mysteries. So I really enjoyed that. And the fact that we were introduced to Filipino mythology, I just thought was great. I love mythology, and it's opened up my world to, stepping outside of my comfort zone, besides the Greek and the Latin, the Greek and the Roman, Egyptian, those types of things. So it really opened up a whole new continent and a whole new expression, a way of looking at things. I thought our protagonist was great. Even though she was a little stoic, I thought it was who she was. And I thought the actor did a good job of bringing that to life. Some stoicism mixed in with some humor sometimes, and showing that she really did care about things. It was a fun ride. All of the other mythical creatures were extraordinary. I love this series. I wish they would have given it 8 episodes at least. I could have done 10. So I am fully invested in the world of Tressay. I've got to give it a full binge out.
Nice.
Okay.
So, we got what? 14
divided by 3.
Yeah. 4.66. So we're gonna round that up and we're gonna give it a full binge out.
Okay. Yeah. I hope season 2. I hope Netflix renews it. I wish it would have made the top 10 in Netflix picks. But outside of that, I thought this was amazing.
It didn't make the top 10?
It's not in my top 10. I'm not sure if it's in your US top 10, but it's top 10 worthy. I think it is top 10 worthy. If that Michael Epps Upstarts can be in the top 10, this can definitely be in the top 10.
I feel it may have a slow burn too as well. It may be like one of those series that may gain more momentum as word of mouth of it spreads. Like the initial opening weekend in the States may not have been number 1, but it feels like slow burn material because it is good. It's good. Yeah. And sometimes it just takes a second, I think it'll get overall views, but just maybe not the initial opening weekend views.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap things up. Centel, you got anything you want to say to the people before we head out?
Hey, just always check out BingeWorthy. I mean, as you can tell, we're gonna give some unique perspective. We're not at our final form because we are missing the amazing Courtney Wright and her insight as well. When all 4 of us get together, we do form like Voltron, and it's a lot of fun. But the 3 Musketeers here, we can definitely get the job done as well. Please stay tuned on Wednesdays. At the same bat time, same bat channel, and let us know also within the chat and within our socials as well if there's anything that you would recommend to us as well. That's about it for me.
All right. What about you? What about you, boss man? You got anything you want to say?
I just want to tell everybody to definitely tune in. We have more to come, more shows. If you haven't watched Tressay, watch Tressay. We're celebrating Tressay. It's really big. This is for the Philam community, and this is for the Filipino community. They're different communities from the same origins, of course. And I think this is a good property that threads the needle. It'd be like if there's an African American story that combined together. I think we could that this is what this is, and I think this opens up a lot that we haven't seen before. I've learned a mythology about gods and creatures that I'd never heard of before, and Absolutely. And I feel kind of naked. I was like, oh, this is how white people feel when they learn anything about anybody else's culture.
That's a good way to put it, my guy.
And we have more guests coming on for the rest of the shows. We're celebrating. Like we have Jojo Aguilar. He's coming on Tech Nubians. He's the art director for this project. And he's coming on with Ryan Benjamin, one of the greatest comic book writers and / art leads in Sony PlayStation's history. And they're going to sit there and they're going to vibe out. So I'm really excited about that. That's on Saturday. So and Rodney is killing it, lining up guests. So shout out to my business partner, Rodney, for getting together. He was working with Earl. We literally have somebody from the show on our network. Earl is on the show. He's on a couple of shows. He did Possum Pangria yesterday. They made a Tressay meal yesterday, which was awesome. So that's all I have to say is like there's more to come. We have more shows. And like Centel says, we're not in our final form yet. So yeah.
Great discussion. It's been a great week for Tressay. And as at the Geekies Network, we are all about accurate representation. Karl, let's give a shout out to Karl, our special guest. He killed it, man. He came in and just killed it.
Oh, there's one more thing I want to say. Go to Archipelago Books and buy Tressay. It's one of 2 Filipino bookstores in the whole entire country. There's only 2 of them. So I'm telling people, look, man, if you can, go buy that book. Matter of fact, buy all their books. They got a bunch of books out there for us. We even have a link for them. Hold on. Let me put the link. We have an affiliate link. So I'm going to put this in the chat for anybody that wants to buy any books on Filipino mythology or they want to buy Tressay. There's a link in the chat for you.
Nice.
And you can buy the book. And it's an affiliate link. They'll know that it came from us and let you know they'll know the Geekies Network. They're one of 2 Filipino bookstores in the whole entire country. You know how crazy that is? Could y'all imagine there's only 2 black bookstores in the whole entire country?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some perspective.
They've been around for 20-something years.
Good shit, man.
Killing it.
Good call out, Chuck. All right, everybody. Benjies, that concludes our show for the day. Thank you for tuning in. We got to give a shout out to our own in-house geniuses at Digital Click. They provide all the art that we have here. I am going to put their website into the chat. If you're looking for artwork or anything like that, don't hesitate to contact Digital Click. So please follow us on Twitch. And if you love what you see, please link your account. It won't cost anything to you, but it will mean the world to us. With that being said, thank you guys again for tuning in. We're going to be back here next week, Wednesday at 8 o'clock Pacific time.
You mean Thursday?
Thursday?
Tomorrow's next week, Wednesday. Oh, you're right. I'm lunching. I thought you meant talking about tomorrow's show. You're right.
If we want to talk about tomorrow's show, we got 2/3. We got 2/3 of Geek Beast here. So tune in tomorrow at 7:30, and also listen to our ladies at Origins Illustrated. Our sister Courtney Scott Wright is on there. We've got Clarama and Catherine on there. Yep. So these ladies are dynamic, they're insightful, and they really know their stuff. So please tune in to Origins Illustrated. And with that being said, everybody have a great night, and we'll talk to you later. Peace.